When there aren't enough electrons to satisfy the octet rule with lone pairs, atoms need to share more electrons, which means multiple bonds are formed. Let's look at an example where there aren't enough electrons to satisfy the octet rule by just distributing lone pairs. Let's draw the Lewis dot structure for the polyatomic ion cyanide. First step is to sum the valence electrons. Since this is a polyatomic ion, we will add one valence electron to the total, since the -1 charge means we have an extra valence electron. By looking at the periodic table, we see that carbon is in family 4A and thus has 4 valence electrons, while nitrogen is family 5A, so it has 5 valence electrons. Since there's one carbon atom and one nitrogen atom, we have 4 valence electrons from the carbon, 5 valence electrons from the nitrogen, 1 valence electron from the -1 charge, for a total of 10 electrons. This is a diatomic species because there are only 2 atoms, which means there is no central atom. We start by drawing one line between the carbon and the nitrogen. When we subtract 2 electrons used in the single bond from the original sum of 10 electrons, we have 8 electrons left. The next step is to distribute these remaining 8 electrons as lone pairs to satisfy the octet rule. I started placing electrons on nitrogen, so nitrogen has 2, 4, 6, 8 electrons. However, carbon only has 2, 4. No matter where I place the lone pairs, there are not enough electrons to satisfy the octet rule for both atoms. When there aren't enough electrons to satisfy the octet rule, it means the atoms have to share more electrons. We will take a lone pair from the nitrogen, since I've placed most of the lone pairs on nitrogen, and share it with carbon to make a bond. Nitrogen still has 2, 4, 6, 8 electrons, and now carbon has 2, 4, 6. Carbon still does not satisfy the octet rule. This means we have to share more. I move another lone pair from nitrogen to be shared between carbon and nitrogen. Nitrogen still has 2, 4, 6, 8 electrons, and now carbon has 2, 4, 6, 8 electrons. 6 electrons had to be shared so that the octet rule could be followed by both atoms. When we finish the Lewis dot structure of a polyatomic ion, we place it in brackets and put the charge in the upper right-hand corner of the brackets. This helps us keep track of electrons, since carbon and nitrogen would have contributed only 9 electrons, not 10, from this extra electron of the -1 charge.